I also have a lot of different other workflows that I automate a lot of my business in. So another example is the freelance articles. So if you might know, I write for a number of different publications and on a monthly basis. And whenever I first started doing that, I found out it was a really a pain to manage all that stuff. So if you think about this, like, sometimes at one point I had 20 articles that I was doing a month. Imagine that each of those articles, some clients want want the text a specific way. Some clients don't want an invoice by per article. They want an invoice when you get up to 4 articles. Some clients have a different invoicing schedule. Some clients don't want to get invoiced at a certain schedule. That everything is different, and it was a major pain to kind of scurry along all those different articles and to customize my workflow for each client. So I'm still kind of tweaking this. I've automated probably 90% of that process so far. So without going into a ton of detail here, this is quite a workflow, and I'm still working for it. And you may not be able to completely digest all this in a Car Talks video. I really need to do a blog post about this. You know what? Note to self, I need to do a blog post. I need to do a blog post video. All right. So the freelance articles, if you are a writer or if you have a lot of small jobs that you then have to do the job, you have to submit the job to the client, get feedback from the client, do an invoice, and follow a certain workflow, this workflow may work for you. So let me tell you how I do a lot of my writing and my articles. So I've created a specific cadence that I like to follow here. So every quarter, what I will do is I will reach out to all the regular clients that I do articles for, and I say, I want to work out everything for the quarter. So before it was sporadic. There was one month I had a client that wanted this, another month I had another client that was this. They were all on a different schedule. And I found that, luckily for me, all of my clients are okay with doing a specific schedule. So first of all, I coordinated with all my clients to make sure the schedule was okay. And once I did that, every quarter, I go through a certain process, a repeating workflow every quarter. And that workflow is, first I have an automated email sent out to them every quarter on the 1st of April. I don't know, the months don't matter. But every quarter I send out an automated email. I say, this is an automated email. It's time for, to figure out how many articles you want, what kind of content you want, and that sort of thing. Once that automated email goes out, I will then get the replies from the client, say, I would like 4 articles on this. I want 3 articles this quarter on this. Once I get all that lined out, then I will just email them back and send pitches. Well, here recently, I'm actually creating Basecamp to-do lists or tasks in Basecamp, and then I will put each of these into an idea status. So each of these articles then get put into a Basecamp task, and then that Zapier service again recognizes that I created these tasks and will then kind of bring all the text together and then send it out to the client with an automated email, say, hey, these are the articles that I think. Once I get approval from the client and we work back and forth, what kind of articles you want for the quarter, we get all that taken care of. And then they're in my Basecamp list, and I have everything ready to go in a to-write status. Then for the next quarter, I have everything set up with due dates. And for the next quarter, then I will periodically go in and write the articles. So another thing that I did mention, whenever I create this task, then that automatically creates a Dropbox folder and a Markdown file. I do all my articles in Markdown. So it automates everything possible to where I can just go in and I use VS Code, whatever editor you want, and just see, okay, I have a Markdown file with the exact name that I want, the client name, everything is there. I just have to open it up and start writing. That's all. I don't care about the submission process, the invoicing, all this stuff. I've automated all this. All I want to do is write. So once I get all the writing done in Markdown, I then go into Basecamp and then check off the task. So I checked off an article. Once the article is done, I know this is going on and on about this. It makes me sound like, wow, this is not the CarTux is not the right format, but maybe it's some interest to you. Maybe you'll take some notes or give me some comments or something. I need to do a blog post about this. But so once I get it done, the article is in a specific format. So it has write, colon, and then the name of the article. And they all follow the same naming convention. If they didn't, there's no way I could make all this work. So I would uncheck it. I would check that off. And as soon as I check it off, the Zapier service would then take that markdown file, since all the clients want Word docs. I hate Word docs. So, but they need it. I automate the process to where Zapier then looks into Dropbox, grabs the markdown file, converts it into a Word document, puts it in the same folder. Once I have that done, once it does the conversion, then creates a couple more tasks for my virtual assistant to go in. And I use another service called Grammarly that I wish had an API, but they don't. He will go in and just do some light editing on words that I missed, some typos and punctuation, things like that. I can't automate it, so I created a virtual assistant task for it, so I don't have to do it. Another thing that, another tip for you right there. After he goes in and does that, it will then look for some of the articles have screenshots, so it has various pictures in them. Some don't. If it's a screenshot, if there is in Markdown, I have a spot to add images. Only if it has images, it creates another task for him to replace image placeholders. Once he does that, then he will check off all these, and if all the to-do tasks inside of Dropbox are complete under this to-do list, Zapier then will see that, all the tasks are complete, the write task, the edit task, and the image placeholder task, if one exists, are done. So that means it needs to be submitted to the client. Next task goes into the submission phase. So in the submission phase, then since there's going to be some times where there's pictures and there's going to be the documents themselves. I used to just in the document, but I wasn't grabbing the pictures. So I zip up, this is all automated, I zip the folder with the markdown text and the Word document and all the images that it needs into a zip file. And then that zip file, I need to submit it to the client. So what do you need for a client? You usually need an email. Then I use another service called Podio, which I need to do some blogging about. It's kind of my CRM system where it has lists of all my clients and names and emails and various things like that. Then the Zapier service will then go out to Podio, find the client email address, then attach the zip file that contains everything the client wants, with the subject says article blah 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 is attached. Please let me know if you have any questions, something like that. And it sends it off to the client. So all I have to do, I've automated to the point to where all I have to do is manually insert a task in my project management system. After I do that, all I have to do is write the article, open up a file and write the article, hit save, and close the Basecamp task. That's it. That's the only thing I do for all of my articles. I don't do anything else. This is only the first phase. There's a lot of this stuff it's taken me quite a long time to kind of build a workflow around all this. But the next phase is the invoicing phase. And in this phase, as I'm checking these things off, and my virtual assistant checks all the things and sees if there's checks Podio to see is there any articles, how many articles does this client want before it can be invoiced? 1, 4, or 5, whatever. It will then go into Podio, and at the time it's also appending all of the article names. It will go through into Podio, then grab out, decide yes, no, does this person need to be invoiced or not? If he does need to be invoiced, it will then, as of now, I've got the code to do it, but unfortunately Zapier doesn't have really good PayPal invoicing. I use PayPal for my invoicing. It will go through, and now it creates a Basecamp task that says, with a virtual assistant, you really should be as specific as possible. And this is what I did. I've gotten a task that says, please invoice X client for Y amount of dollars, which is the total sum of all the articles, and please send it. And here are all the articles that it needs to be in the invoice. That's all automated, and that creates a Basecamp task. And my virtual assistant will go ahead and do that, hit check, and then we'll go into a waiting task, and then there's a whole other thing which I'm not going to go into. So I've pretty much mapped out the whole flow for all these freelance articles, and I can't tell you how much time this has saved me. This has allowed me to, this whole process that I'm talking about has really allowed me just to focus on the work that I want to do and the work that, that I feel like I'm valuable in. I'll make all kinds of mistakes. I'll get frustrated. I don't want to do invoicing. I don't want to follow up on invoicing. I don't want to submit stuff to clients and work and figure out which client wants this, which client wants that format. Now it doesn't matter. I mean, literally from writing a single article to getting paid for the article is essentially putting a Basecamp task in my project management system with a specific name, then working with a client a little bit, figuring out that can be automated, unfortunately, figuring out the article names, and then writing the article, saving it, and completing the task. Everything else is completely automated. Either it's automated or I've automated it to the point to where I can provide specific instructions for a virtual assistant to do it. So I know that was a long-winded car talks, and because there was a lot of stuff going on in this, and I'm going to do a blog post or a series of blog posts on how I do all this, because this workflow, these tactics can be used for a lot of different things other than just freelance writing. I mean, you could use it for a lot of different things. It's all about mapping out things and kind of standardizing various tasks and workflows and things like that. But if you lasted this long, thank you very much. I hope that it was worth it, your time, and I hope that I gave you some ideas and insight into kind of how I work. And please, if you have any questions whatsoever, please just add something into the comments, or reach out to me on Twitter at ADBertram, or just hit me up on my blog at adamtheautomator.com. Thanks.